What's happening, gang? Hope this finds everybody well. Welcome back to the Built for Pressure podcast with me, Will Foden. Today, I'm joined by a friend, athlete, businessman, coach, legend, Mr. Tom O'Cleary. How are you, mate?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
Living the dream in the sunshine. We're actually about to do the 3 Peaks Challenge, which Tom is an endurance athlete. Obviously, you can tell. Don't get me wrong, he is strong in the gym, but this boy can run very, very fast. We're actually going to do the 3 Peaks Challenge, and we thought, why not? Maybe jump on board. So I'd like you guys to get to know him. Tom, I always ask the people whenever I start a podcast is who you are, what you do, and why you do it, and you can take that and run with it as much as you please. Who is Tom O'Cleary? Let's go deep, mate. Straight in.
I would say a coach, number one. Somebody that strives across a business point of view, training point of view, to just try to be better. I've always come from a place of, in my headspace, I never feel it's like enough, and I'm always pushing for more, which is one of the reasons why we're working together, kind of diving deeper down that rabbit hole to understand it.
Yeah.
I'd say for me, first and foremost, I'm a coach, endurance athletes, everyday people who want more, whether they're training for a marathon, Ironman, dropping 10 kilos, better energy for work. It's being that person, their corner, to help them strive and push forward towards that. From a personal point of view, training-wise, I've got times I want to hit across marathons, Ironmans, which we've been doing, which is mega this year.
Just for the camera, what's your marathon time right now?
2:59.
Not playing fucking games, people. Let's be honest,
18.
yeah, whatever, innit?
More to come, though.
Yeah, more to come. No judgment, yeah, whatever, innit?
Yeah, so we're happy with that in a minute. And then got a 10k PB, what was it, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
like 35:50. So that was off the back of a testing week, which was horrible. But yeah, we got some good numbers.
Got
from
some
that,
meaty numbers to play with for sure.
But yeah, I'm moving into like the next phase of what I want to be doing. So it's very much a case of that I am that coach, but I'm also that someone for somebody else, whether that's my partner,
Yeah.
the business owner, the athlete I want to be.
We'll shout out your incredible lady as well, because she couldn't make it this weekend, but she owes us a hike.
She does.
She does owe us a hike, man. Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure being part of your journey, and it's something that I've always said with everybody. There's a common trait with people that I work with, and it's how we're wired, and it is. Tom is a babyface killer. He is only 24. Like I look 46, but I'm 36. But vice versa, I've been in the trenches where he's been aiming to achieve across the board. Currently, I'm just shouting out his business for him, but he runs a bit of a hybrid. He works in person, but he's got a booming online business, OCS Performance. We'll take a little bit of it, what I thought would be prevalent for everyone to understand is sort of where were you when we first met each other, 3.5 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, is that?
Yeah, about did I first meet you in Edinburgh?
It was.
Edinburgh.
You were doing a talk.
Yeah, shout out to Mr. Matt Optimizer and all the crew there, Sarah and them gang. That was how long that's been. Mental, that was wicked.
Really wild, man.
And then we obviously had IB for them as well, which again, you guys go follow their social media, you'll see it's a bit wild. What was, let's take it back a little bit, because I think especially there'll be people that know you, people that don't know you. From a where you were then to where you are right now, again, I'm going to plug your business. You're about to have a big evolution, and I know we're having a big evolution as a person, but I think it's prevalent we talk a little bit about your business too. What's the goal of your next piece? Because I think that's where the cool thing between me and you is that it's not just about the physical piece. I think I always say with people like yourself, it's like having you're a boxer in your own domain, and having someone in your corner to help you guide you, because this man will push himself to his limit, and you can listen to his times. The old boy will run until he's bleeding in the mouth and keep going, but vice versa. With business, he's very much the same, and especially being young, it's great because this is where your hard yards are. And like you said, if I was doing what you were doing at 24, the evolutions in myself would have been huge. Then I was playing professional sport, and I just had my knee snapped in half, so I was a bit different to you. But same thing remained, was the work ethic of, I'm going to attack this every single day as hard as I possibly can. And as you're growing, that's probably been, from a coaching standpoint, it's been probably the biggest evolution for me to watch you do, is now how you regulate yourself. Let's take us back a little bit, because I think that's important. When you first got involved in the online game and you had aspirations of competing in endurance, and yet you were young, you're 21. What was it like then and compared to now?
I'd say the mission and ambition was the same, but the thought process is very different.
Nice.
So initially starting off, I always knew I can work hard, and I'm happy to push it. Like, I'm happy to break things down and myself a little bit, which is a double-edged sword, as we know. That was kind of the starting point. I didn't really have, I would say, a massive direction of what to do, but I knew where I wanted to go. and that was the biggest thing to start off with, across whether that was my business or training wise, and especially from a training point of view. I was absolutely putting myself in the ringer from a work point of view. So my training, my actual health, my sleep, my data, like it was in the bin. So I couldn't perform how I wanted to, even though I had capability to do it. One of the reasons why I reached out to yourself. So for me, it was still keeping that same level of ambition and hard work, but being super dialed in on where exactly I'm going. So it's not just sporadic hard work or just grinding for grinding's sake.
Yeah, I think that like that hustler's mentality across the board will get you in the door in whatever you're doing in performance. Like, it's funny because especially when I deal with coaches, there's such a interlink between their physical endeavors and their business ambition. And what we can do is we always talk about whatever, holding the standard and your better standards and what that's going to keep you in the game long term. And people follow that. That's what they inspire to be. People like you working with. We were mentioning off air before about working with people that are sort of behind you in that journey. A coach's job is to bring someone 5 years behind them to their standard where they are right now, and that you'll find that as you get, since I've worked with you, I've seen you do it professionally, working with Karen wanting to do a couch to 5K to half a marathon, to now working with some amazing people doing some incredible races and who are, data is everything. They're not here to play games, and we are running with the elite. It's a very different ball game for you right now. But like you said, I think first it takes one to know one, and when you first came into the program, it was very much a case of willpower and determination were great, but that's not where your elite level lies. Elite level lies in direction, and I think that's where, especially from a physical capacity standpoint, that's always been the piece of the puzzle that I've had to pull you back.
I know.
Where it's not about, it's like, I know full well, mate, full send, and I don't care how you recovered, and if I shout at you, you're going to run even harder. That's all well and good, but I think you have such carryover in relation to that with a physical piece to that now from a vocational piece. It's really interesting because again, we do talk about business, about how you're in your business, but I feel there's so much more conviction and calmness with your process thing. When I first met you, mate, it was like a shotgun. Like lock and fucking load, kick the door in, blast away. Now, I feel like everything you're doing is way more calculated. And again, please correct me. And that's had huge carryover, not only from the data we're getting from your physical training, but from you. You're regulating yourself way better.
Yeah, I think it's that piece there, similar to what I mentioned before. Everything's not everywhere across everything, training-wise, my own personal standards. Especially when you're starting off as a business owner and like coach. Like my main thing when I started coaching, I just want to help people. Whether you want to drop X amount of weight, look better, perform better. Then I started to go into more like the endurance side of things. Really enjoy that, and as I'm doing now, more of a evolution of my program and how I coach is looking after kind of that person first, and then their events and everything else behind that and in front of it. But I think for myself, it's knowing I can pull back and not feel guilty.
Yeah, nice.
Like, as you'll know, you tell me to do something, I'll do it. Like,
yeah, no problem.
That's
questions
not the
later.
issue.
Just drop me in.
But when we've got the data to say like that's not actually working, and we've got like the actual feedback from myself of how I'm feeling, and then you say go right this week, pull it back. Precisely a few weeks back, like our testing week, you said, right, pull back this week, next week we'll go into the testing week, you're feeling a bit fresher. Whereas before I just hammered it. Probably wouldn't have got the numbers in that cycle of, right, what's not working?
Yeah.
And it's not exactly like the process isn't working, it's just I'm being an absolute donut to myself.
Yeah.
So I need someone to tell me, right, you need to pull back a little bit, rather than being like, do more, because it's not the answer always.
No, and I think especially within your game, endurance is just chasing the magic dragon. Like there's always more. You see this with especially right now when you're looking at the likes of who's your man, the ginger boy with the beard who's ran across Africa, the hardest geezer.
That's him, yeah.
Legend. Love his stuff. I love what his documentary's mental. But then you've got that, and people are they're chasing bigger, badder, and you have it when you do it from like a professional standpoint of like chasing marathon times and all this kind of thing. I think that's something that is ingrained in endurance athletes. They've got this weird red line where they actually love it, but they hate being on the edge.
Yeah.
And that bit 100%. When you're on the edge, I know you tell me when you're you're on a marathon, you're 10k out, and boy is fucking getting after it, and it's like, this is really bad, but this is where I love to be, and it's such an addiction.
That's the hard thing, isn't it?
Hard thing, because that's where you feel alive. And I had similar in rugby where mine was breaking someone's ribs. I've got a video, I'll show you afterwards. I've got a video on my phone, this guy from Roslyn Park, he came around the corner and he swore at me, called me something ridiculous, and I fucking melted him. And I just stared at him and said nothing, and he was like, I'll fucking get you. He did it again next time, and I broke his ribs. Back-to-back plays, and it was by far the most electric I've ever felt, which is so sadistic and weird. Because I say it out loud now, I can't even think about doing that. But then it was like, that was my badge of honour. Your badge of honour, as you know, is like you get off a training session and you're tasting the lactate in the back of your mouth and it's metallic and you want to, and it's grim. But then secretly like, well, it's not fucking good unless I'm doing that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens with people who are wired in the same way, is those that are looking to achieve, grow and evolve always want to live on the edges of their capacity. And I know what you're like. And I think that's something that is, you're so much better at doing that.
Yeah.
Before, it used to be a huge paradox between you being guilty of not doing the work compared to actually the work may not, I'm fucked here, I need to pivot. And I think this is the analogy of like that, the perfect plan means nothing.
100%, yeah.
It's the system underneath it. Let's talk a little bit about, I'm getting this out of you because it's on camera, but I fucking love this about you. It's one of my favourite pieces as you as a coaching practitioner. Walking the walk and talking the talk. You went on a trip to Kenya.
I did.
Let's because this is something that I think is massive and underrated of people that are walking and holding themselves to a higher standard. If you want to be the best, you go. If you want to be a lion, you go in the lion's cage. And I think that for me was when I first met you and you were like, fuck this, I'm going to go to Kenya. One thing, just being a kid from down in Oxford to just boost off to Kenya and run a training camp, not very heard of, but vice versa, living and breathing it. Talk us a little bit about that and how it came about. We can talk a little bit about your man, Run With Nathan, and about him as well. This brother's rapid as well, but I think that would be a wicked story to tell, because I think that sort of builds, people understand now why you're so ambitious.
Yeah, so running back to Nath, who I've known for a good few years now, absolute savage in the running world.
Old boy can run very, very fast.
Yeah, he's incredible. Good, cracking athlete. I give that to him. Similar headspace to me. That's why we get on pretty well. We was having a discussion. We can't remember who we saw on YouTube. Like, oh, this guy's running in Kenya. Like, this looks decent. If that, it goes back to that thing. If they're doing it, then I'm doing it. Obviously.
Yeah.
So we was sat down like middle of Costa. Just ended up booking it right next year. So slowly comes around. I'm preparing for Brighton Marathon, which is where I wanted to go sub 3. So I was doing 2 weeks in like the peak weeks out in Kenya, which was, at the time I thought it was a banging idea, it would be good. But my body took a lot longer to get accustomed to the altitude. And you learn so many different philosophies out there. So I was going out there from a personal point of view. I want to experience Kenya, what it's like. Not from just the training point of view, but seeing how it is out there.
Expanding your vision.
You learn a lot, and to see how grateful you are because of what you've already got, and you're going out there. These people just running for a living, and we're just doing it as a choice because we want to enjoy it. So, yeah, me and Nath went out there 2 weeks in a 10, getting trained by people that have coached kind of Kipchoge, the elite level athletes. Like, you walk into a cafe and you'll see like world record holders just like sitting, just grabbing a coffee like before they go into the next run. And it's just a different ball game. It's a different world. So for me, it's going over there, getting an understanding of what can I take away as a running coach? Like, what's their philosophies of how they train? What's their strategy? When are they strength training? Because I know it's different in the running world there.
Yeah, sure.
Rather than a few bodyweight squats and no weight on the back.
No,
but it's getting an idea of how they do things from an elite level standpoint. And then also feeling it myself. Like, what does it feel like to go into that hurt locker, actually train like an elite level athlete before my camp. So we was out there for 2 weeks, seeing everything from training with elite level athletes, coaches, eating how they do, sleeping how they do, and also seeing how a different world it is out there. Like, that stuck for me for the marathon. Like, nice. When they're going and showing you around schools and charities, and you've got kids there that are like got nothing.
Yeah.
That sticks with you in your head when you're running. You're like, well, I've got
You've got
no
more
stress.
Yeah.
I just need to send it.
Yeah.
and that just kind of stuck with me, and I've took that into my own work as well.
Nice.
So in that 2 week period before Brighton, like I put a lot of pressure on myself. I said it on social media, like, I want to run sub 3. I ran 3:17 at the time, so like realistically that was such an egotistical thing for me to try and knock that amount of time off.
Yeah.
I didn't probably give it the respect it deserves. It was stubbornness that got me through it.
Nice.
So had 2 really great weeks of training, was running like 90, 100k a week of volume with some good quality, but a lot of it was easy stuff. So on the easy days over in Kenya, if your heart rate goes above 130, you have to walk.
Oh wow.
And that's something that I took away and that I've like almost still kept in. So you're training in altitude where your heart rate's in zone 2 trying to go to sleep at night. So it took a good 7 to 10 days just to get used to that out there. But that definitely played a part in me then. Well, obviously I did get the sub 3, 2:59 on one of the hardest Brighton marathons of my life.
Savage.
But the fundamentals of learning for myself out there and the principles of how they train, how they eat, how they recover, I've still took that with me with what I do day to day.
That's massive.
And kept the process of that. So for me, it was chucking myself in the deep end with people that are doing it bigger and better than me.
Yeah.
And I'm just a guy figuring it out as I go.
Figuring it out, mate. Why I asked that question is it's so refreshing to see somebody, people in our space, not just our space, in high performance in general, they search for confidence first. And confidence is a feedback loop. And that feedback loop is, can I do it? Whereas if you have to have the courage and the naivety to go, I'm just to have a go. And I think how many people that we know personally and out in the weird world of social media that there's so much more for them to give, but they're in their own way because they're unwilling to put themselves in the locker. If you say it out loud that you, like you said, random white boy from Oxford is going to fly over to Kenya with elite level, internationally known Kenyan runners and go, yeah, I'm going to have a go. Not many people have the courage to do it. And I think it's amazing to have this, like, live it, breathe it, but hold yourself towards it. And like you said, the perception that you've now got in relation to, you've seen bigger picture stuff. Like Rach used to swim for Great Britain and she used to travel the world. Similarly, her perspective on the world is so different because she's seen everything. And I was very lucky to travel when I was a kid. I think that's huge for someone like you, but more so living it and figuring out that, like, that piece of that puzzle of this is what it takes.
Yeah.
And like I think that I've been lucky enough to witness it. Is like, first you've got to feel the fire and then learn how not to get burnt from it, rather than trying to figure out the cheat code of how to get there first. Like, nah, just go and figure it out. And like you said, that 130 thing is I think a lot of coaches get stuck with this, and that's a cool element that I think Tom can elaborate on, is the zone 2 stuff about actually running at lower heart rates is where you build your capacity. But most people, especially you'll have it in your practice, the amount of people that butcher that and just associate zone 4, zone 5, send it, spew, run, as that's there, where we know, for me even working with you, but also you yourself and living it, how it's quite a cool metaphor for you as a bloke. How have you actually dealt with, where did you sort of draw the line with people in relation to that heart rate work, and how do you get somebody to stay there? Because I think, like you said, it's such a patience game.
Yeah.
You get someone to do 12, like whatever, 8 weeks, mainly zone 2, zone 3, knowing that in 16 weeks we can hit a PB. What's your way about going about that with clients currently? Because I think that's something that is across the board for viewers who are runners in general. They would like to learn more about why that's important, but also yours as a coaching practice of you have to slow down to speed up.
Yeah. So I think for me, going back to, I've seen it and felt it. Like, I've been the person, as you'll know, that will just smash the hard 5Ks out, and that works until it doesn't. And then that's when people come to you, oh, how do you do this? Or how do I take myself to that point of, whether that's shaving a few minutes off your 5K or you want to get a massive PB on your marathon time. Like, you have to earn the right to be able to do that. Like, I think for me personally, being able to have felt the benefit of it, it made it easier to explain. So especially now within my coaching of how I've phased it out, it's like you have to go through this stage to unlock that next stage. And even with like the zone 2 running, it can be boring, and there'll be times where your pace is a lot lower and you have to get your ego in check regardless of what people are saying on Strava or what you're used to running. And once that gets dropped and you show them the science and principle behind it of how it works, and then the people I've already coached, I can show them that it works because they've done the thing.
Yeah.
It will then leave you in a better place. And I think for me, coaching, it's such an art to it from a running standpoint. It's not just a case of that zone 2. It's like, right, what's your cadence, what's your positioning, what's your form, how are you actually moving as a runner? Because I can give you the best plan in the world of building your zones up, your capacity, the harder runs, the VO2 max work. But if your actual running position isn't where it needs to be, then like
Everything's off.
Everything's off. So it's actually looking from like a movement mechanic standpoint. If I can optimize your stride a bit better with the zone 2 and with the harder stuff, we're going to make loads of gain because you're more efficient for less effort.
Nice.
So that's something I've tried to implement with a lot of my clients that are running, even from if they're at a new standpoint and they're just building into it, just getting the fundamentals right at the start. So that's been huge for me, and getting it across to them. They've got trust within me for what I do. I don't just say it, I've done the thing. So they believe in me for doing that.
Nice.
First and foremost, so the trust is there. And because I've explained the exact step-by-step of how we're going to get to it, of what we need to work on. Similar to us at the moment, like we're going for a stage of, right, we need to work on that top-end speed because we've built, our threshold is like huge at the moment. We're in a really good place with that. And for me, I'm going into like new territory with the speed work we're doing.
Especially after that first session, mate.
Like, it's in a hole, wasn't I?
Yeah,
I've got like 4 done out of the 8.
Yeah,
and now the last 2 weeks I've been getting the 8 done at a faster pace. Like, and it's putting that trust in something different, which for me at the start I was like, oh, this is different, don't know this.
What we're doing there.
And then 3rd week I'm like, oh, this is decent. I'm reaping a bit of a benefit in terms of feeling, not necessarily data-wise because it takes longer, you know. But yeah, there's trust in the process. In terms of trust in the person who's programming that, they've done the thing, they understand it, and you've seen other people get the result, and now they're buying into that or they don't. And just it's being honest and direct with them. Like, especially going back to the world of social media, I get people come to me that are like, or I'll see it, just done my zone 2 run, heart rate's like 170.
Yeah, mate, bruv.
That's another ball game.
I'm
like, respectfully, come on, let's not lie now.
I think we live in such a day and age where people don't, it's easy to get information, but it's very difficult to live that information. And so the way you live it is by doing it, not by like you said, if someone tells you it's zone 2 but you're running in at 170 BPM, the visual's not matching the audio and what you're doing. But it's like someone telling me that their process is high rocks. That grinds my gears, not because I don't like high rocks. I think high rocks is it's like CrossFit. I think it's been amazing for the industry. It's more, people are just strapping a name onto something that is not the thing, and the reason why people are getting injured or they're not getting better is because they're not recognizing the principles, like earning the right to get there. And I was listening to your story about that. What I kept going through my mind was just such like your evolution as a business owner, as an athlete, goes twofold, because you're more calmer, you're more smooth in your process, you execute at a higher frequency with less effort now because you're now not getting in your own way. You're not doing random shit that's not adding to your process, and you're not slaying yourself for it. Instead, it sounds a bit weird, but you're treating yourself with a bit of respect in some respect, because before
100%
you're a bit of again, I don't like the term doormat, but I'm the same. I was willing to suffer. And if the worst thing about rugby is it's the difference between a race, because a race is like you either win or you lose, or you get the time, or you don't, rugby is like, well, I value rugby players who can tackle more. I value rugby players that can do more turnovers. I value rugby players that can score more. So the goalpost shifted for me, and I found that very difficult. Hence why I'm so hard on myself. What was within your process right now? Let's bring it back to now. I think people will start to get a bit of an idea about who you are and what you do. From not only just working together, but I think your evolution as an athlete. What's been sort of the biggest takeaways from being inside the Built for Pressure process, but more so actually now having that structure for you to actually operate on all cylinders?
I think for myself, probably in the last 8 to 10 months, I would say, is trusting in myself to do something different. Like, there is no set blueprint. I can create my own way.
Mega.
Which I've done, not just from like a training standpoint, but I think in every area of what I'm doing. Like, there is no set rules of what you need to do. You can create it how you want to create it. You've got different strategies and things you can do and tactics across whether it's your training, your business, which is all good, but if it's not built around you, that's a big thing. And I think in terms of like myself in our coaching process and what we do, I know if I'm having that struggle, I just know it's a voice note away. Like, at that point I can get that specific advice, information I need for myself to then implement. It's fast and easy now. Whereas before I maybe would have just gone on my own.
Rogue.
and just hammered it.
It's it. Black Ops, mate,
Whereas-
in the
yeah.
shadows. See you later. Gone.
100%. Whereas now it's a case of I've actually got a strategy to what I'm doing
Nice.
across all areas. I probably look after myself a little better. Like as we were saying off camera before, sleep's in a much better position. HRV's been balanced, and I'm actually like having some sort of protocol and strategy to, from a health point of view, and not just burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah.
Which is massive for me, and that's then carried over into my work. I'm probably delivering a better coaching service. My business is growing better. Don't get me wrong, I'm still absolutely hammering it work-wise, but it's precise on what I'm doing. When I'm on, and when I'm off, I'm off.
Also, you're choosing to work that way now.
Yeah,
But before you were surviving to work that way. Then that's what it felt like.
that's the
anyway.
difference. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a case of you're pushing it because you want to, and like the work almost feels like play.
Yeah.
Whereas before it's like, this is long. This is like I've got chains strapped to me, and I'm trying to push through, but it's like you're getting there, but it's so slowly.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's kind of what I want to do,
Mega.
and if I don't want to do, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And it's been having that ability to say no to things as well.
Huge.
That's in my personal environment, and also work-wise. Like no, I'm not doing that.
It's not part of it. I think especially like you said, you're going to have that in your game where the better you get, the more you're going to be asked off to do stuff, and the more you're going to say no. And I think it takes a long time. Again, from a personal development standpoint for myself, I'm in the void, which is I used to not be very self-aware. So I used to be very, like you said, a spade is a spade, and I'm just going to do it regardless of how I felt because of environmental factors of previous situations. I then got to the position now where I'm a dad, a business owner. I'm not in survival mode. I'm not like I left Singapore and it was at all costs. I had to protect my missus because it was on our roof for me to work. I'm no longer there, so I'm now a lot different. I can choose what pressure I want, and I think that's what a lot of people like me and you do. Is actually you don't want to be in a position where you have no pressure because you'll be bored. You want the pressure because pressure meets pressure, and again, like, cliche, but pressure builds diamonds. In it is that actually that level of pressure is why you're now operating with way more conviction, is because you want that hard challenge because it's on your terms. Let's talk a little bit about it's been fucking wicked to not just have you in my process, but just watch you make the times you're getting absolutely mental. I think it'd be wicked to have a little opportunity to show a bit about more about the evolution of OCS, because since I've had privilege of working with you, it's not just been about the physical, it's been about how you operate with yourself to be better as a business owner, athlete, and I was about to say husband. We're not husband yet. No judgment. Geezer with the missus, exploring the world and doing cool shit. We were just talking about your branding. What's the come of OCS and what's the mission? Because I think that'd be really cool for viewers to see. Is this is where the level of professionalism and elite, like, again, this is wicked, and I really want you to demonstrate it. But more, as I said, give the people a bit of a, whether it's supposed to be out yet or not. I'm throwing on the spot here.
No,
you tell us.
Good. So, yeah, I think going back to, what is it, probably 4 years now, coming up to 4 years that I've started my business, started coaching. So probably going back, started just in-person coaching before anything online. That's where I developed OCS, which is actually my surname, so OCS Performance. That people that don't know, they just think it's random letters. But
That's it.
There's
That's it. Just so we clarify, yeah.
There's
it's not a takeaway order, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like number 54.
Yeah, that's it.
There's an actual meaning behind it. So, I've always been into sports. Never used to like running. In fact, I was just football. And I wanted to work with people that I found it interesting training like an athlete as such. I just enjoyed it. That's what I wanted to do. And I've sort of applied those principles, whether it's coaching people in person. I feel like everyone can move like an athlete. You don't have to be elite level Olympian. Like you can you still train, you can still jump, move fast, look good. That's sort of been my process. So I've gone through different phases over the last few years. When I first start out, which I'm still working with some incredible clients in person, and that's helped me develop my craft, and I still plan to do that because I'm still young as a coach and want to develop that. Nice. But I wanted to have more impact. Yes, in the gym I can get people moving better, build their confidence, put them in a better place, but I actually want to look under the hood, like how is your health, how can we optimize your energy so it's then going to have better impact for your kids, your work, or if you want to run the marathon. So I've gone through phases of, right, this person, we're going to be dropping you and getting you a few dress sizes down, or you're going to fit into this suit better, or this person now wants to run a marathon, and it's been a mix of very different things, which I absolutely love, or I've just done running for some people. Whereas now I'm looking at an approach where if you want to do all of those things, I can do them because I've done the sets and reps of those individuals in person and online. So I've been building out the next stage of OCS Performance in the program, which is going to be called PEAKHUMAN. So that's getting you operating at your best 365 days of the year. It's not a case of a 6-week shred. It's not a 12-week thing. This is 12 months of, right, we're going to rebuild you from the ground up through your health, your energy, your performance, and we're going to phase that out. So we've got periodization through the year of when we're peaking, or when we've got key stages of people, whether it's someone's getting married, they're doing a marathon, and they've got certain targets, and we're rebuilding from the ground up their health and also focusing on performance. So it's not just running, it's not just looking good, it's everything in between. So that's something I've been building out the last 5 to 6 months now.
Mega.
And really bringing that to life. So I'm not just the running guy, I'm not just the guy that coaches people in person. This is like, it's a new system and process of how I want to deliver the best impact to people and leave them in a better place. So that's what I've been working on at the moment. And as I say, the last 3.5 to 4 years, it's been a case of starting in person, which I still do now. And I've built the online business, as you know, which has been huge for me. That's been a massive part of my journey. Meeting yourself through, obviously Matt, and a whole new world of people. And that's where I plan to go and create the best service, whether that's like this hybrid model that I'm currently doing at the moment, for people come in so I can test them, I can get some data, I can get that feedback. That's why I like to coach. And I follow the science behind everything, but also look after the human first. That's in front of me. So it's everything I live and breathe, really. That's where my passion flows. So I can sit and do that work for 10 hours and do that. And to some people it's like, that's overkill. But for me, it's absolutely what I'm passionate about. It's what I love. So I'm putting everything into that. So it's not just like, right, here's your training plan, here's your macros. Like, that's small. I'll give that for free. That's no issue. Like, I actually want to help the person in front of me thrive, perform, and be in a better place. So that's the game plan and evolution of where I'm going with it.
Massive.
At the moment. So yeah.
When's that sexy branding coming out? Or is that covert ops at the moment?
No, I've been releasing it. It's scheduled. There's some bits next week, actually.
There you go.
Scheduled
Stay
in.
Fucking tuned. By the time this comes out, you'll be seeing some cool stuff. This man's got some wicked new branding coming out. It's lovely. But no, it's so refreshing to hear that not only you're pushing your athleticism, and again, I appreciate you being part of our program, but more from like a coach's evolution looking in. You're not the stereotype coach who's just like, cool, coach for 3 minutes, now online, scale, grow, blah, blah, blah. Actually, you're the opposite. Your craft is everything. And I know you personally, and I've had conversations with you about how granular we've talked around. You've had calls with me about you, and it's ended up being about your clients. So it's so nice to have someone who gives a shit, but more so lives this brand. And I think that's where what I love to do is physical performance dictates the pace for everything. But actually, it brings people of like minds together to bigger missions. And I think this has been the cool thing about being alongside you, has been just watching your evolution as not just as a man, but as a coach. Of actually, you hold yourself back more than I'm meeting the most people. I work with quite a lot of coaches, and you're very, very, very cautious about how far you step first, because you want to make sure that you've got everything covered. And it's so refreshing, because that's the difference, and the reason why you've been so successful the last 3 years is your growth has been mad. And again, I massively appreciate you from an athletic standpoint, but just as a geezer. And obviously running me up and down hills tomorrow, which will be fun. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully we both come back sunburned, because there's going to be some burnt bonnets, I think it looks like. For people that are watching this on YouTube, or people that listen to our podcast, give you a place where they can sort of find you or look at your stuff. Because again, if the people are looking to sort of to know more about you, that would be a good place for them to check out. Yeah, so just Instagram, Tom_O'Cleary. And then there'll be the new release of everything on OCS Performance on that page. So, bosh, there's the two main places you'll find me. Game on. Well, thank you very much, brother. I appreciate you being on this. Again, I'm sure we'll do more. We'll do a deeper dive if those that are watching more like to learn more in the weeds about his sort of training phases and that kind of thing. But just an introduction to this legend. I appreciate you taking the time, mate. And I've got pulled pork ready, mate. Don't worry, I'll feed you. Beautiful. Well, good team. I'll catch you guys later.